Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Laundromat Millionaire Show. Carla and I are just full of gratitude today because I don't know if you know this or not, but this is our 80th episode. This is the last episode of season 4. And we just want to start out by just saying thank you for being so loyal, for following us. We're so glad that our content and our partnerships and our friendships has helped you to grow your business. We've gotten thousands of messages, private messages, emails, things like that. And we just want to kind of pause for a second and reflect and say thank you, because while we don't chase vanity metrics like followers and views and subscribers and things like that, the truth is that does tell us that we're doing a good job and we're bringing value. And those numbers are just exploding. Our platform, our views on our website, which tells us the content we produce is helpful and valuable to you. And we hope and pray every day that you're taking that information and you're using it to make your business better so that you can serve your community and make a difference, because that's ultimately our mission, is to help you serve your community better. By default, that'll serve your family better as well. So thanks for just giving me an opportunity to show a little bit of gratitude today. This episode is special to me and Carla. We interviewed today Alex Jekowsky, the CEO of Sense and one of the co-founders. It's not a secret that we're big supporters of Sense, that we use their products and services, but this isn't about promoting Sense. There's a lot of negative and bad information out there on what Sense is doing, and private equity and acquisition of StarchUp and a merger with LaundroWorks. And there's a lot of conspiracy theories, which are, by the way, completely understandable. When I talk to you all about these things and I explain what I know of the situation, and you hypothesize about what might be happening, those are all legitimate concerns. So I don't want to mock or make fun of anyone that believes a certain thing. But this episode, we asked Alex to come on because Alex and the team at Sense have done some pretty unbelievable things in our industry over the last 4 years. And I feel like sometimes they don't get the credit. Sometimes they take a lot of bullets for, raising money and different things, acquiring companies, merging and partnerships. And they're trying to do really, really big, let me rephrase that. They are doing really, really big things in this industry. And it's all predicated around supporting us independent operators. And I guess that, Carla, that has a special place in my heart, because at Laundromat Millionaire, the reason this started, the reason we continue to grow it, is because we are passionate about supporting the independent operators so that those independent operators can go and support and serve their communities in a better way than they were served in the past. And so when you see those two missions align with, obviously Laundromat Millionaire is a educational platform, and we do coaching and workshops, and we have these different partnerships and things like that. And obviously Sense is on the other end of the spectrum. They're a very advanced private equity technology company. And the fact of the matter is, when those two things aligned 3 years ago and I saw our vision and mission align with theirs, I just saw it as a thing of beauty. And I'll tell you, after working together pretty intimately with them for 3 years, they're the real deals. And so we wanted to do this episode just to give Alex the opportunity to speak truth into what their vision is, what their mission is, what they're trying to do. And we wanted to speak from our perspective of independent owners working with the Sense team from 3 years ago, when quite frankly, they were not the best at what they did in a lot of areas. And Alex is pretty clear about that. We've worked with them through that journey, and now we've come out the other side. And not that Sense has arrived or we at Laundromat Millionaire have arrived. None of that is true or accurate. We feel like we're just getting started. And so that's really what this episode is about today. So we're not trying to convince you to join Sense. That's not what this is about. We just want to share mission and vision, and for you to see what Sense has accomplished to this point. And obviously, we don't just talk about Sense. We talk about the industry and how you can improve your businesses and things like that. So if you're not a Sense user, and you never will be a Sense user, we think you're still going to get a lot of value out of this episode.
All right, but before we get into that interview, let's highlight one of our preferred service providers, Hydro Perfect Pour. It's actually been very exciting over here in Cincinnati because we recently got our Hydro Perfect Pour system working at our Amelia location, and our customers could not be more excited. So we are currently running a promotion for the first 60 days where our customers get to use the Perfect Pour direct injection system on their loads for free. So both detergent and softener, getting them to try it out, and they love it. And they know that there's eventually going to be a markup in price to use it, and they don't care. They are excited to not have to bring those detergent bottles and softener bottles into the laundromat anymore. And we can just not speak highly enough about how well this is going over. But if you would like to find out more about the Hydro Perfect Pour system, just go to laundromatmillionaire.com to our services page and look at our services providers. And you'll find a link to more information about Hydro Perfect Pour, as well as our episode with Patrick Kelly, where he talks in depth about the system. So be sure to check that out. But let's go ahead and get started with Alex.
Just fell in love with the dynamics of this industry from an investment perspective. Thought, hell, maybe I'll just buy a couple laundromats. How the hell do people run these things and have other jobs? Helping operators by providing them options, but within one platform. That's what a centralized business management all-in-one solution is.
All right. So Alex, welcome to the show. It feels like, it's been forever. We've been talking about having you on and you're finally here.
I think in my case, good things come to those who wait, I hope. But so glad to be here. Appreciate you guys inviting me on and excited to chat.
Yeah, I can't, I guess in my case, I'll say good things come to those who don't give up. Because you've been a busy dude, and I am very excited to share the Sense story. And I think the first thing I will start with, and then I'll kind of turn it over to Carla, but the first thing I will start with is, if you don't know by now, I'm not sure where you've been, but I'm a big fan of Alex Jekowsky, the human being. I'm a big fan of Alex Jekowsky and the team he has built at Sense. And I'm also a big fan of the product behind the people. And those are the things that I try to do in this industry. And I've always tried to do. Used to not have the leverage, if you will, or the name recognition to be able to get behind the scenes a little bit and try to predict where our industry is going and who's the right companies and products to bet on and even human beings and things like that. And now we have a little bit more capital in that way that we can cash in on. And it's not a secret, I don't think, but if anybody doesn't know, we used to use a different POS. We used to use a different on-equipment payment system, and we used to use a different pickup and delivery software. All three of them were separate.
Different one for each one.
We actually we had a different payment, a different credit card processor, and I used to refer to that before I knew Sense existed, or before you did exist. I used to refer to that as people like me in the industry that are kind of have their hands in all aspects of the industry as Frankensteining our businesses together. And I think I told you this just a few weeks ago. I don't know if I had ever said it before, but this is the honest to God truth. Is 5 or 6 years ago, before Sense even existed, I was literally praying for someone like you to come into our industry and serve the independent operator in the way that you are serving us. Now, 3 or 4 years ago, it was a vision and a dream of the opportunity you saw, and we'll get into that in a minute. But the truth is, this is no longer a vision and a dream. You are executing at a very high level. And I can say that as someone who's been using your products for 3 years, seen a million iterations, had a ton of conversations with you about the vision. And I'm honored to know you as a human, and I'm honored to know you from a business partnership because you keep your word. And I think that's important for people to know that. I'd love it if everyone in our industry and every industry did that, but they don't. I'm just honored to have you on the show today so that people can get to know the real Alex Jekowsky on the real Sense and what's going on. And let's take off the tinfoil hats and let's just have a very real conversation with a whole bunch of human beings about where our industry is going, because I think you have a unique perspective on not only where we've been, but where we're going. So that's Dave's little soapbox right out of the gate. I had to get that off my chest. But I'm going to turn it over to Carla now.
So yeah, just commenting on what he said. I mean, early on, we were some of the early people that tried Sense and everything and moved over to Sense. And early on, it was for the dream. We saw your vision and what it could be. And early on, it wasn't there yet. But
Said nicely. It wasn't there yet. Yeah.
But you all have been so good about taking our feedback and really running with it and listening to us. And this is what we need and learning the industry. So it's been exciting just to see your journey. And we're going to get into the journey, but I think for maybe there's a few people out there listening that don't know about Sense or about you. Can you just briefly kind of tell us your background, why you got into laundry POS and technology systems? Why laundromats?
Yeah, 100%. And before I do, I just want to say how meaningful Dave and Carla, your words and your partnership has been to help us really understand the industry, be able to have a platform ourselves to actually connect with so many different operators, because it is for us, that our game is being a sponge as much as possible and hearing from everybody and anybody, no matter creed, background, thoughts of where the industry is going. It's just learning as much as we can, talking to as many folks as possible. And you guys have been such a champion in that learning for us, and have been, at least to me personally, a great friend and champion. But more than anything like that, and more than any of that, the best partners are the ones that yell at us and tell us, call our baby ugly at the right time, so we know what we're doing, and have been a very meaningful partner and friend to me, along the journey, and more than any of that, also patient through all of it. And that is not something that we take for granted with any of our customers, but especially as longtime kind of partners and friends, you guys. So I appreciate all the kind words very much, and I know on behalf of our team, feel the same way as well. My journey in the laundry industry, and I'll try to do it as fast as I can. But I think one of the great strengths of our team, and what I love about everybody at Sense today, is we don't come necessarily from laundry. Don't get me wrong. There are members of our team that are laundromat owners for sure. But I do think that's one of our great superpowers, because every single one of our 80 plus team members have fallen in love with this industry with no background or being, I wouldn't say forced into it, but it's not that I grew up in a laundromat. I wasn't born in a dryer. I don't have a, hero journey from that perspective, where I was pushed into this industry and I've seen it and had my own kind of either preconceived notions or experiences. I found out about the industry in a very similar way that I think a lot of operators, especially today, have, which is look at a P&L. You hear that this is just a great business. You're looking at an alternative investment asset class. I sold my last company, heard that laundromats were great investments, thought, hell, maybe I'll just buy a couple laundromats because I got an earnout and I got another job, and this is low employee count, theoretically high margin. I know nothing's passive in this world, but something at least that I'm not buying myself a job. And I felt like, sophisticated enough. I feel like I know good operations from running my last business. I should be able to run a laundromat. And that's when I fell in love with the industry, talked with hundreds of operators, worked inside of stores all over the country, spent time not to build product for it, but to buy like 3 stores myself. And my co-founder, Gilly, was the same. He came from the product side of building for a different vertical. But we both just fell in love with the dynamics of this industry from an investment perspective. And then the deeper we got in it, and it actually looked at buying stores ourselves, working with brokers, looking at the utility bills, signing our life away on these NDAs with these bids, buy, sell, brokerage networks. And, when we were looking at closing on 2 stores to start, maybe it was 3, that's when we started realizing, like, how the hell do people run these things and have other jobs? I think it's actually a testament to how sophisticated the average laundromat owner is. You, as an operator, are an entrepreneur. And laundry just happens to be one of those investments in businesses you can start with no domain expertise. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of laundromat owners that are not great folders and are not great processors themselves. And they don't like doing laundry themselves either, but they get into the business because they look at what their margin profile can be. They look at the stability. They look at it as an alternative investment that doesn't buy themselves a job on top of their 9 to 5 that they have. They own real estate or they own other businesses. So that's what, I fell in love with. But at the same time, I think it is one of those reasons why the average operator, even 20 or 30 years ago, when it was more of the American dream, immigrant owner, mom and pop business, it was accessible from that standpoint, and very stable. And now I think you have even more operators coming into the space, more sophisticated operators looking for multi-store ownership and looking to take that, call it entrepreneurial drive, and actually build a brand that they're passionate about, not just slap the red coin laundry sign in front and have the equipment that's 30 years old, which works. And it can work for some operators, but I think you have a really incredible time in the market. And I think very lucky that I found it when I did. And it just took a lot of learning and understanding of the different dynamics of this industry. I never say that laundry is the like rocket science and the most unique thing in the world, but it is certainly nuanced. But there are a lot of lessons from other small businesses on Main Street that can be learned and gleaned from. So that was kind of the realization of that there wasn't really good technology. And I looked at every technology company in the space when I was looking buying my own stores, and the experiences from a sales perspective, the quality of product, the infrastructure, the ability to consolidate tools the way I would use in my last business. wasn't there. And that's kind of, we love to build. We love to get deep into industries. We love to commit ourselves to opportunities. And that's what kind of got us building Sense. And I bless my lucky stars because I've never been happier and felt more lucky to be part of a community and industry the way I am here. And I hope I get to do this for the rest of my life, ideally.
So basically, you looked like a lot of entrepreneurs into the laundromat industry like, ooh, laundromats are a great investment. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You never actually bought a laundromat, right?
Never bought a laundromat. And I wanted to in our first year. And then I kept hearing that if we buy a store and we operate a technology company, people are going to look at us with a skeptical viewpoint of what our intentions are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But then on the flip side, some people would say, oh, you're not an operator. You don't know what it means to build in this industry. I'm like, okay, well, it's one or the other to a certain extent. But no, I think, if you're going to be a vendor in this space, for us, we play Switzerland in every kind of capacity. We want to work with every kind of operator running any kind of business model. And I also didn't want to run a business one way, then build technology for it, and then tell all of our customers that this is the way to run it. Because I've seen so many different business models. They got drive-through laundromats, wash and fold, self-serve, wash and dry, drop and go, every variation of some have add-ons, some don't, some have direct injection machines like you guys pioneered, and some don't. Some never sell products over the counter. Some use cash, some do not. Some want loyalty cards, some want credit and debit. There's no one way.
There's no right way. There's many different ways you can be successive.
There may be certainly wrong ways, but there's definitely no right way.
There's no one right way. There's many right ways.
and so our thesis was, let's commit ourselves to supporting the owner operator instead of also running stores ourselves, because I also see what that's like and have worked inside of enough stores and worked with thousands of operators to really know that we want to stay committed to our core competency, which is software, hardware, and payment and support of the SMB, not necessarily running them ourselves. Now, laundromat owners have joined our team to help us better understand, run our community channels, be on our product teams, so we can see around corners and understand different business models and be able to get more information in terms of how to build the best products. But fortunately, our community of customers have reinforced, and not customers, people that have not chosen to go with Sense, have actually been even more helpful in understanding what is really core, what is important to build and focus on at the business.
There's nothing better than free. Ever heard that before? Well, it's not true. You know what your laundromat customers like even better than free? It's fast. That's right. They want to save time more than they want to save money in most cases. They want to get in and out of your laundromat as fast as possible, and they'll pay more for that experience. We're proof of that here in Cincinnati. That's why we added HM Company drain troughs into our newest store in Cincinnati. While they may never know why, your customers will love that your washers all drain better and faster than with old school drain pipes. As if that wasn't enough, every HM drain trough is made in the USA, so they ship in only a few weeks, and everyone is custom made just for you and your project. If you want to provide your customers with a top of the industry experience in your store, then contact your distributor to order your HM Company drain trough today or visit draintroughs.com.
I know. So when we first met you and we first talked to you, what really sold us was this vision you had. And kind of as you were telling your story, you looked into buying laundromats and you realized, oh my gosh, how do people do this? Because nothing communicates to each other. And so you got this idea of, I want to create this all-in-one management system, which is your vision for Sense. And I see that vision is very much created now. Like it's really coming to fruition now. Can you tell us what an all-in-one management system is to you and talk to us about your vision for Sense?
Yeah, I mean, I love to, think that my team and I are all geniuses and we're, seeing this opportunity that nobody else saw. But in reality, for us, it feels very linear and straightforward. And we're not inventing the wheel or reinventing it in any kind of way, because look at what's happening with what did Toast do in the restaurant space? What did Squire do in the barbershop space? And MindBody do with med spas and gyms? this has been done so many times in different industries where as an operator, and I look at it in our business, so how we use Salesforce and how we use other tools, we want sources of truth. We wanted one place for me running Sense. I want to have one place and less tools to have the information I need to better run my business. And so the idea with Sense is, why are there 5 different tools to run the business? And I had heard very early on in the industry, hey, Alex, my self-serve business and my wash and fold business are completely separate because they're different customers. My pickup and delivery business is completely separate because it's a different customer and a different operating model. That could be true. Now, I've seen customers go from self-serve to wash and fold to pickup and delivery. And while they could be different elements of your business, right? I have a hardware business. I have a software business. I have an online order, right? A digital business, at those product lines. But if I'm running them on 4 or 5 different tools myself, there's no way I can be as effective in delivering a great product to our customers to make data-driven decisions myself. And so it's every business in every industry. Like, I don't think anything we're doing is exceptional or special. And from a vision perspective, it's listening to operators in terms of what do they want and what would make life easier versus what you have available to you today. And so the idea was, where do we start? I think that was the hardest part. It's the reason we've raised as much venture capital dollars as we have. It's not because we like investors or we like raising venture capital. I tell every one of our investors, if I didn't have to have you here, I wouldn't. But for me to accomplish the things, and for our team to accomplish the things, and to have integrity, and to say, we talk internally about this 1-to-1 say and do ratio. Right? We don't want to say 2 things and do 1. We don't want to say 1 thing and do 2. We want to say something and then we want to do it. And so we're going to be an all-in-one solution. We're going to be transparent with what it's going to take for us to accomplish that. And the software was the way for us, we felt, to start, to have an immediate impact to our operators, be able to connect, learn, engage, and understand. And I think one of the growing sides of this industry in wash and fold. But it's also, this was the ability for us to provide more tools of value, because this is not like a restaurant where, and I think this is where the nuance is, right? The point of sale can be built very similarly in terms of the features and functionalities and flexibility within product. But the relationship with an order in a restaurant, it could be a cup of coffee. It takes me 5 seconds to pour that coffee and give it to the customer, and relationship is now over with that order. Wash and fold is a much longer relationship with the customer in that order. It's much more personal. There are a lot more preferences and important things in terms of processing. And so that process management and operations infrastructure was core to why we built this product to start. But hardware is really hard to build. That's, I think, why they call it hardware. And it took us 3 years really to understand that business and to build it internally. And frankly, I looked at partnering with all the companies like Square and other hardware providers to not have to build it ourselves, because it's a hard business. That's why there's only like 3 or 4 companies in the space, and they're all family owned, been around for 10, 15 plus years. Because it's really hard. It's expensive. There's risk. So we took our time building this product while this was in the market. And while we were building this, we were also building this at the same time, just more under the radar, because you can't screw up this. Software, you can fix a bug and you can implement different. Hardware, it's a riskier thing if you don't do it right the first time. But really, just, Carla, to answer your question, the linear progression for us is, all right, well, if we're doing the in-store stuff, I'll be with inventory management and point of sale and employee management and customer CRM and all that, those tools. Well, doing everything in-store, maybe we should do the online as well, right? Help you with pickup and delivery and all that. Just makes sense. Why wouldn't we? Well, if we're doing pickup and delivery, it's all different. So we have to have the flexibility to kind of start somewhere as our wedge of value. And we knew in the beginning when we went to pickup and delivery, like we didn't have all the tools. We knew that for real operations of pickup and delivery that required fleet management, driver apps, route management, optimization, things like that, we're going to have to take time and learn. So the first step was, let's help operators that aren't doing pickup and delivery today, get them into that industry. And let's take some folks that are looking to augment their pickup and delivery. And that's when we pioneered the first company ever to launch that gig economy integration, on-demand integration. Boy, people didn't like that. The people that were at least our competitors and people that were very passionate about having your own vehicles and drivers really didn't like that we were approaching it differently. But for us, it's the thesis of who we are. which is helping operators by providing them options, but within one platform. I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to tell you that you should use the gig economy because I don't know enough about your business to tell you it's the right move for your metro. Each one of our products is start with something, provide the optionality, but it's like an iceberg, right? We didn't build this just to do payments on machines, right? We built this to provide tons of other products and value that are going to be coming over time. And that's really I think building an all-in-one solution, okay, it's great because now you get to centralize. Then what? How are you going to make me more money? How are you going to help me find more customers? How are you going to help me buy a store in another state? How are you going to help me get better access to capital? How are you going to, and the list goes on, right? So we don't have to be Silicon Valley tech geniuses. You just have to have you got to annoy operators by asking a million questions, whoever will listen and answer. You have to have very active ears, and you have to be willing to take things on the chin when you launch things and people are nervous. And then it takes resources to move at the speed in which we've moved. Not just something in the wind that's going to show up, make a bunch of noise, and then fade away. That we're going to show up, make a bunch of noise, make sure people know us, but really be a long-term partner for our customers.
Well, man, I want to point something out before we move on. There was a time, a lot of the payment systems, processing systems, hardware systems, software systems in our industry. In fact, I would argue, I think all of them before Sense came into our industry were owned and started by independent operators themselves. They were solving a problem for themselves. And a lot of them still to this day, to kind of be the anti-Sense, right? They promote themselves as by laundromat owners for laundromat owners. And that's their way of saying you're not a laundromat owner. And I want to point something out. And this is completely independent, so does not have Alex's approval. So when we first got into the industry back in 2010, there was really no technology other than a couple card systems that were not anything special. I think the founders would tell you that. Then in about 2015-ish, 3 different companies for the most part started software companies. All 3 of them owned pickup and delivery companies. They were trailblazers along with me and a handful of others. And they grew their businesses maybe a year or 2 before us. They grew their businesses to the point, and I always say they outgrew the cell phone and the dry erase board, right? And they realized they needed something more, but they looked around and there wasn't anything. It didn't exist. There was a few dry cleaning components that weren't going to function for a wash, dry, fold, robust service. And so they created this for themselves. And I tell these people to this day, I'm proud of them. Just like I tell you, I'm proud of you, Alex. What they built and the time they built it for our industry was fantastic. I remember the first Clean Show back in 2015 when these 3 operators were on the floor and they had their little laptops and small booths, and they were showing us this thing, pickup and delivery, that I never believed would be anything relevant in the industry. And I want to give them one credit for kind of being trailblazers. And I consider myself a pretty good operator, but I don't think, in fact, I almost know that I couldn't create what they did while running a pickup and delivery business and a laundromat. So I think they deserve credit for trailblazing and driving our industry forward. And there was a time that I used one of those 3 products, and I would tell everyone that this was before Sense existed, but I would tell everyone that listened that one of the reasons I use these software, it was created by independent owners for independent owners. I thought that was a good thing. And to a certain extent, I still do. Okay. Now let's flip to the other side of it. About the time that I met Sense, I had evolved and grown my business tremendously. And I was able to see the future and the vision of what I wanted pickup and delivery to be for me and pickup and delivery to be for our industry, for my fellow owners. And if I had created a software for the industry, I would have seen that software and created that software to solve every problem I had. And I would have listened to other people, but let's be honest, I wouldn't have listened to them like I would have myself, right?
It's like Alex was saying, you
That's exactly right.
built it to your model.
That's exactly right.
With the optionality of
that's
other
right.
models.
So where I got really excited, one of 3 or 4 reasons I got very excited when I met the Sense team was you are not independent owners. And some people think that's a negative, and there was a time when I did. I actually think it's a tremendous strength. I think those independent operators that created payment systems, who created a software system for themselves, and those are good products, right? You would not disagree with that. Those are good products for our industry. But they are not, I would argue still to this day, and I know some people might be offended by me saying this, they are growing and iterating at a much slower pace than a true technology company. So as I tell you all the time, I'm grateful that you all came into the industry, period. I'm also grateful that you came into the industry at the time that you did. So the reason I'm bring all this up is, I'm gonna tout Alex Jekowsky for a minute. If you don't know, Alex is a former Forbes 30 under 30. Okay. That's a really big freaking deal. Now, I don't know that Alex really cares about titles and stuff like that because he's a pretty humble guy. But the truth is that doesn't happen by mistake. That doesn't happen by any other reason than just being a tremendous innovator and visionary for any industry. And he could be doing what he's doing in any industry. He came into this industry, was able to see it where it was today, see a vision for the future. And the reason that I have gotten so excited and worked so closely with you all is because I was able to see that iteration, and I can have conversations all across the industry. And you are at a different level, my friend. The vision that you see for the future, you are at a different level 3 or 4 years from now. And when I say I genuinely prayed for you all, it's because I started to see that. I started to see that what had been created had worked at that point, but it wasn't going to get us where I saw we needed to go. And most people thought I was crazy, but I wasn't. I could see the vision, but I wasn't the person to do it. I wasn't going to execute. I wasn't that smart. I wasn't going to raise money, blah, 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 blah. And that's why this partnership has worked so well together. So I just want to point out to people that me specifically, Dave Menz, as independent owner in Cincinnati, Ohio, used to believe that these software and hardware companies being distributors and independent providers and having 20 years in the industry and sometimes more and actually running their own pickup and delivery business, I used to believe that was a good thing. And I do think that was a good thing for phase 1 of our industry, or phase 10, whatever you want to call it. But for the future of our industry, we have to think differently. And that's when Sense came into the industry. Now, your ability to execute, your ability to raise funds, which is, last I heard, really easy to do. Private equity and things like that. And we could talk about
especially
that
during a recession, I'm sure.
Yeah, for
super
sure.
fun, super fun.
Your ability to execute and innovate simultaneously is pretty staggering. It's a pretty unique thing. And I think that our industry, if you don't want to use Sense, fine, whatever. But I think we should at least give you your kudos. So
I liked how, Alex, when you talked about your journey, and I think it parallels nicely for any laundromat owner out there, how you talked about, we had this vision of what we wanted to become, but you all really focused on one piece at a time. And we recommend that all the time to laundromat owners, start with one location, start with just self-serve, then add wash, dry, fold, master wash, dry, fold, and then add pickup and delivery or whatever, like mastering one before you go on to the other. And I think you also have shown pieces of, we warn people about this all the time with pickup and delivery and wash, dry, fold, is once you get a customer to try you, if you can't wow them that first time, it's a lot harder to ever get them back. And I know that has happened some with you all, where people saw your early iterations of some of your software and you've turned them off of it. And that happens with us laundromat owners. If someone comes in and does a wash, dry, fold order and they get a bad result, they're not going to try us again. And I think it's important to go that slow and steady pace, but at the same time, not so slow that all your competitors are rushing by you. So it's a hard balance.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite quotes is, comfort and growth often don't coexist, right? It's there's going to be things for us where we know we're going to charge ahead because we need to learn, we need to grow. That's the profile of our business. We also have made, God, I can't tell you how many mistakes we've made along the way. And I think for us, it's never about that we won't make mistakes, and we will continue to make mistakes, but it's about the importance for us is our kind of commitment to communication with our customers, the understanding of the responsibility we have with our customers, being an all-in-one solution, that when mistakes are made, we have to be extremely communicative. We have to have a resolve to fix those problems quickly, and be very clear. And we're trying to be more so now than ever of when is something in beta, when is something that we're figuring out, we're trying, but it will take either us or operators that understand what we're trying to accomplish, the opportunity to test and try new things the same way that every other company and every laundromat or every other kind of business has to try new things in order to know if that new thing can work. There's not one way to do anything. And every business, that included, we have changed operating styles, tools all the time. We were using Samsung tablets for our POS stand because we thought, let's be the cheapest tablet system and be easy, and you can just buy it at Best Buy, and it doesn't have to be this whole POS infrastructure like restaurants had, and I think the other companies, the other competitors had. Boy, was that the worst possible decision we could have made. I had some customers that went through 8 printers because they didn't connect these tablets, and the tablets have one charging port, so you can't have direct connections. And there's Wi-Fi only, no Ethernet, and there's all of the things. And the screen size was too small. And if you want to get a bigger screen, it's actually a more expensive tablet. And the tablets, they're $200, are not meant to be on 24/7, 365. But we sold 400 of them, and then they all stopped really working. And if we had spent more time talking to more operators and I think more entrepreneurs in other industries, we would have seen around that corner a lot faster, saved a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of reputational damage, and a lot of product issues that we had because of a bad decision. But thank God we had it, because we have learned so much more about the right way to deploy our product from a platform perspective. And that lesson is not unique to Set. That's in every business. And so I appreciate, Dave, what you say, because we want people to know, who we are and why we do it, much more than just what we do. And on the competition side, I mean, look at every talk I do, every industry-facing conversation I have is look at every single company. Competition is very good. I've got good relationships with most, if not all, of our competitors. And we are not here. I'm never going to stand anywhere and say Sense is the best and everybody else is the worst. All we're going to do is try to build the best product we can and think the way that we do. I don't care if any of our competitors know that we have a feature that's coming out, are going to copy what we do. That's inevitable. And that's a good thing. It means it's validating the concept. I remember there's one of our competitors that really said the gig economy was the worst thing ever and should never be done. And of course, now, after a year or two, they're launching it because they know it's in demand and they're starting to understand that optionality is invaluable. So a rising tide lifts all ships, right? That's the goal. That's what good competition should be. And I've even heard in the industry some frustration is that there isn't enough competition. There aren't enough different solutions out there. And, again, we want to, I remember at Dave, in one of your talks, you say, build the biggest building. Don't, be the biggest building because you destroyed all the other ones around you. So for us, we want to do what we say we're going to do. We want to listen and learn. And we want to, hopefully it's not if somebody, works with us, it's a when, because they understand and they give us a chance to show the kind of business we are. And more than anything else, show the kind of people we are and how much we really do care. Very candidly, and I haven't really said this publicly before, but it is personally sometimes frustrating because the amount of money that we've sunk into this business and in this industry, $50+ million, well more than that, with the only goal is to support local operators. That is it. That is in every one of my investor presentations, every single one of our guiding principles as a company, as team members. But folks, I think a lot of folks still don't know where we're coming from and who we are as people, and what our intentions are in this business. And so, the thing that we just try to maintain from a reputation standpoint is for people to really know who we are, what our intentions are, and the why. I would say from a data perspective, right? It's not just important to know what machines turned on a given day, but why they turned. It's not important to know what customers are in your store. Why did they come to your store? That why behind it is the definition of the insights you need to run a successful business or to know, who you're working with and who you're serving. And so the same for us. It's why we talk to as many operators as possible. Sometimes when you talk to 1,000+ operators, you get a lot of difference of opinion of who to listen to, what to do, what models right, all these things. But it's important to us to really understand every nook and cranny of this business, every operating type, every person's perspective, and more than anything else, have each one of those folks know who we are and where we're coming from.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's what you all have been so good about. Like when we do bring up issues or things that we need the software to do, like your team has been so good about coming back to us with, oh, okay, here's how we'll make this happen. And in the meantime, here's the workaround. It'll still do it with this, but we're going to we'll adjust this. And you have such a team that is so knowledgeable in the tech industry that you have so many people that can do it so quickly too. Like the turnaround for the correction of stuff has been really impressive.
And hopefully every week and every day, it gets easier for us, right? Because look, when our operators have a problem, obviously it's not directly our business that is not taking that pain, that the tablet's not working. But we feel that pain and that stress, or at least whatever percentage is possible for us to feel it. And we want to fix it. And we want to make it better. We want to make sure that we're building things in the right way. And part of it does take time. I think we've come such a long way to where we are today. But I think, Carla, you hit on the most important point. You can say all the nice things about me and I appreciate it. But it is much more of the execution ability of our team in the early days than me and Gilly, figuring this stuff out at 2 a.m. with our engineers and going through the crazy early startup days. At this point, every single person on our team goes through such a rigorous interview process, not just from a caliber. I mean, a caliber, that's an easy thing from an actual ability standpoint and knowledge, but cultural alignment and understanding of the guiding principles of what it takes to be successful at Sense as an employee, and the care and love you have to have. Every single one of our employees has to run the counter of the local operator within their first 30 days, or it's a fireable event. And so you have to know what it means to be an attendant. You also every quarter have to interview or visit 2 operators or 2 laundromats every quarter. And we have like a whole Slack channel dedicated to these, call it humans of laundry, to really understand what it means to be an operator, what it means to run a store. And then every Sense employee gets to expense all of their laundry that's sent to Sense customers, because we need our employees to know what it means to be an operator, to be an attendant, and be a customer. And if that doesn't happen, they can't be here. It doesn't work.
Want more profits out of your laundromat business? Let us tell you about our new company, LaundroBoost, and how it can help you to boost your profits. You may be thinking you've used digital marketing companies before and they wasted your time and money. Well, that's why LaundroBoost was born. As 14-year veteran laundromat operators ourselves, we've been there, and it's sickening.
So what makes LaundroBoost different? Our team combines technical digital marketing with veteran laundromat operators and coaches to give your campaigns the ideal blend for getting you results. But then we take it a step further with our strategy. Our strategy is to be hyper vigilant with every marketing dollar, so no fluff.
Yeah, in the beginning, we focus on a 3-pronged approach that we think is unique in the industry. The first is website design and landing pages, making sure those are honed in properly. The second is daily analytics studies and strategy with your Google AdWords campaigns. And the third is geofencing. It focuses on your nearest competitors and where your ideal customers live and where they shop. We believe we've got something special, and we've spent our own dollars here in Cincinnati to test it, and we're growing faster now than ever before.
To learn more, schedule a free discovery call and market study for your market. Visit laundroboostmarketing.com today.
Let me ask you a question, Alex. So you are, for those of you that are listening on audio-only platforms, we also have a video version on YouTube and Twitter. You can go check that out. But Alex is sitting in front of a lot of different hardware, some laundry bags, some very cool signage, some even empty generic bottles. There's a LaundroWorks soap system over to the left, to my left, his right. And Alex, we're going to talk about LaundroWorks and that acquisition in a minute, because I know everybody gets very excited about that. Before we do that, I want to back up for just a second. What is an all-in-one management system to you? It's to talk about, I'm looking at Sense Connect, and I'm looking at LaundroWorks, and I'm looking at your old receipt printers and things like that. And I'm looking at the Sumi tablet on my right, which is the newest robust version of their cheap tablets that he referred to that didn't work very well. And yeah, I about drove to New York and choked Alex myself at one point. So been there, done that, lived through that. We made it though, didn't we?
We made it.
Tell me about that, because there are companies out there that are using your picking up on your marketing of all-in-one management system, and they're promoting that. And the truth is, I don't think they'd be using those words if they understood what they mean to me and what they mean to you, because they do not have and are not even attempting to build what you have already built and iterated. So let's just get that out there so that everybody's kind of speaking the same language.
No, put it very simply, what do you, and anybody who's listening, what do you as a business owner, what are your revenue streams? How many employees do you have? How do you manage your employees? How do you do the things that you need to do to run your business? And how many different platforms do you use? How many different payroll tools, different employee management tools, different in-store management tools. You use paper receipts. How do you track your wash and fold revenue versus your self-serve revenue when machines start? How do you operate the business? How do you build your income statement and your financials? How do you manage your employees? All the things that you need to do to run your business. That's what a centralized business management all-in-one solution is. It's not, let me just use the buzzwords of the industry of self-serve, wash and fold, commercial laundry, pick up delivery, put that in one, and boom, I've got an all-in-one solution. Because you don't, because then there are still maybe 4 or 5 other tools that you're going to need to understand the tasks your employees are executing in your store, especially for multi-store owners. You still have marketing solutions that you want to have from an execution standpoint. You still have different payments products. Maybe you have all of those, but then you have a different payment processor. And maybe you have so for us, it's when you wake up in the morning and you want to understand how well your business is doing from every standpoint, from your return on your ad spend to your margin profile calculation, to understanding who's at your store, how much revenue, what your machines are turning. That's really our North Star. Talking to operators and understand, what do you need? Well, how do you run your business? Great. Now let's build it, right? Let's digitize what you're doing and put it in one platform. Once you have that digitized and essential solution, you then have the ability to look at optionality of different operating models, different revenue streams, because systematically have been able to lighten the load operationally of all the different tools you have to look at to understand the health. I walked into stores, one of the reasons we built Sense Connect, I was just at a store in Nashville who had their Sense POS and used our own commercial invoicing management system, but then they had a tablet for their system that would actually start the machine. So they go to the tablet that started the machine, go to the machine, start that, come back to the POS and log it because there was no connection to the machine. So now that whole, which are the bell cow of your business is either the self-serve, but the equipment, those are your real employees, right? Those are the employees that are working 24/7. You got to know when they're sick. They're the most expensive, like that you got to understand what's going on from a machine standpoint and an asset standpoint. And if you have to use 2 different systems, I don't care all the things we build. If we don't have a way for you to view your equipment, or we don't have a way for you to manage your employees, we don't have a way to do these things, we're not an all-in-one solution. We certainly have the ambition to be, but we aren't. And, I think honestly, we touted ourselves as an all-in-one solution even before we were, because it was our vision of what we wanted to do and continue to want to do. And there are things that require us to do that we don't do today that would make us even more of an all-in-one solution. But in my view, you got to take a big swing. You got to invest, and you got to build the right products, and you got to have the patience to take everything on the chin when you're learning and building and growing, to be that. And even like memberships and subscriptions, right? It's a very interesting opportunity in the industry. I'm very passionate about it, and there's a lot of ways to build it. And we don't want to just build a basic way because it's going to prevent flexibility. So we got to work with operators, understand how they need, what are the different use cases and edge cases, launch something in the industry that then can have broader optionality and utilization, which, we'll talk about on another podcast and the cool things that we have coming on that front. But so it's not just about being able to function. Okay, great. I've done the self-serve, the commercial, the pick up delivery, and the point of sale. Okay, great. But if I don't have an ability for you to get into pick up delivery without just buying vehicles, or if I don't have a way, if you have vehicles, to run pick up delivery on our platform, we're not an all-in-one. If we have a credit and debit card system, no loyalty card, we're not an all-in-one. Because what if you have a loyalty card system? What if you want that? How could I tell you I'm an all-in-one solution, but you can't run 100% of your business on Sense, right? So it's not just an easy or fun thing to say. We say we're an all-in-one solution. The expectation we hope an operator has is, I can buy my store, buy my equipment, buy Sense, and I'm done. And that's, and I tell our competitors, and I have calls with them all the time. I'm like, guys, be ready if you're going to do it, because I can tell you it's not fun. It's hard, and it costs a lot, and you'll really take the punches along the way. But if you're going to do it, you got to do all the things. Unfortunately and fortunately, the job's never finished, and we'll never be an all-in-one solution because there's always more stuff that we can do and operators deserve, need, or that's not in the industry today. But when it happens, boy, it's going to be a game changer. So if you catch me saying, yes, we are an all-in-one solution and it's over, we're done. Now we just got to sell the product. Then you should leave the Sense product line. and you should join somebody else, because that will be the day that everything has changed. And that'll never be the case, because I feel like we just earned our right to start running in the race of building great product. We haven't even begun of what I think this is the baseline you need to have to be able to now actually deliver value. This is just step one of digitize your business before we can really drive even more value.
Yeah, I always snicker when I hear people saying things like, "Oh, Sons came," and I've heard this many times. Sons came in the industry 4 years ago. They've raised a whole bunch of money, done a whole bunch of stuff, and now they're going to sell. And I'm like, man, you should really have a conversation or two. Like, they have way bigger plans.
And more than just that, look at every other successful market-leading business in any other vertical. As Toast raised $950 million, something like that, before they IPO'd, even more. And did they raise a bunch of money and then sold and left? No, they're actually providing even more value to small business owners than ever before, right? Square, public company. Look at Gloss Genius in the salon space has raised, I don't know, close to 100 million, 75 million. They're only providing more value. Like, us having resources is an investment. As an investment work, you give a piece of your business to somebody else in exchange for capital to build something bigger. I would much rather not do that and own more of this business myself, because I believe in it, with every fiber of my being. We do it in order to actually do more and be in it longer. With more care, attention, and focus and ability. But at the same time, there's not one criticism or skeptic that I think is unreasonable in that skepticism.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
When we partner with LaundroWorks, man, the either conspiracy theories or the genuine, real concerns of operators were completely justified.
Yep.
And so part of it is we try to spread the message as much as we can, and part of it just it's going to take time for us to prove to everybody who we are and why we do the things that we do. But I never, everybody's concerns or thoughts or judgments or anything are all reasonable, because small business owners, they want to make sure their business is focused on and committed to by the people they partner with. This industry has been so relationship based, so long term, that new companies coming in, I completely understand where folks are coming from. And all we ask is the ability to prove ourselves. And you might write us off now, no problem. Just check back in. Have a conversation with me. You never have to work with us, but maybe have a conversation with me anytime
demo the product again
and learn.
Do another demo.
Do another product. And if you don't want another demo, just call somebody on our team and just talk to them. Come to our office and steal our coffee and beer and food and whatever it is. But get to know who we are and why we're doing the things that we're doing. And you might not have a changed opinion of if you'll ever use our product, but hopefully you'll have a better understanding of the why behind what we do.
Yeah. And once you understand the why, I think you'll be pretty impressed.
Yeah. Can we jump a little more into the LaundroWorks merger, the partnership? Because I know two things. One, I know that you all were looking into making your own kind of loyalty card system, and then instead you've done this partnership with LaundroWorks. And I think another thing I want to touch on is, so you did an acquisition of StarchUp, and I think then with the LaundroWorks, I think there's some in the industry that have this fear that you're this big tech giant that's going to come in and just like acquire all these little mom and pop businesses. And can you talk to us about the difference between this partnership with LaundroWorks, why you did that, and how that's different than the acquisition of StarchUp?
For sure. It is definitely something that we've heard a lot. I'll first tell you my thesis on acquisitions. I've sold a company before. We've bought now too. Acquisitions present a ton of risk for a business like ours, right? And we feel very well positioned, we're well capitalized, great momentum. Acquisitions are not for the faint of heart, and they're not something to do because, there's a company here, we can buy them, and then we can do it. It don't work that way. And people know when you buy a store and you're inheriting employees of a previous customer, it's not just, I just added another laundromat. Like there's things going on. In this case, imagine running, a small chain of laundromats and then buy a huge one, because LaundroWorks has a huge customer base and a great product. There's a lot of components that go into that presents risk. The first thing we did is making sure that we had to have a product in the market. When we think about acquisitions, we don't we're not a roll up. I don't like buying companies. I don't think it's not a core part of our strategy. We feel very confident in the product line that we have that we could beat anybody in what we do over time. The first thing is, who are the people that we get to work with? That is the number one. The cultural and mission alignment that Oleg and myself had since we integrated as partners 2 years ago, even longer. That friendship and that relationship, this is not a merger acquisition. It's a partnership between two people that have the same vision of the industry. And if you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. And that was the way that we viewed this opportunity, not as this train that we're not a massive company and private, that's not our strategy. Or we want to work with people and enjoy what we're doing every single day. And we want to work with people that are better than us. That's how we get better. And we're going to talk about patience and beta testing and, customers that understand what it's like. Just go to Dave's store and see our paperweight embedded into his wall of the Sense kiosk. And we were going to build that product anyway.
I'm going to bid that out on eBay because I hear it's one of a kind.
It is one of a kind
loyalty card kiosk in the industry, and apparently it's the only one that will ever exist.
At the Clean Show, we had our own kiosk. We were going to do it.
Yep.
But there are a few opportunities that we see when there is an incredible connection from a culture perspective, and relationship perspective, and shared vision perspective. And LaundroWorks is a family-owned business. 100% of that team care so deeply about product and their customers. When you call support at 6 p.m., guess who picks up? Oleg picks up. And he's been doing that that family's been doing that for 10 plus years. Like we almost didn't partner together because they were so concerned on their ability to continue in the business, because they don't care about the money, the prestige, anything like that. They care about building great product and having the most impact. And I've never met a more humble and incredible group of people to partner with. So that was the reason. We can build anything. This is a metal box with software and hardware. It's not rocket science. What they've built is an incredible product, very sophisticated, but anybody can build products. Possible universally. You can build it, but the quality of partnership goes far beyond any gain you make from a purchase of customer base or product standpoint. And so, that's why Oleg is a VP and executive in the business with his own budget, his own P&L, his own everything that he gets to execute just with more resources. So he can actually bring his vision of the industry and our shared vision together faster with better execution, support, and implementation. So, and on the StarchUp side, similar but different, right? StarchUp is a much smaller company, far less resources. The product, they didn't have a lot of engineers supporting that product. The product was not, I think, where Nick wanted it to be for scale. And we had, since Dispatch, a product in the market that we were viewed heavily as the gig-only platform, the on-demand only platform. Now, we had invested in a driver app and all that infrastructure, but we knew, just like the self-serve business, the pickup delivery business is incredibly nuanced. And I think some of the best delivery operators were either familiar with or used StarchUp because they were an incredibly flexible and feature-rich platform. But from an infrastructure perspective and platform, there were things that we knew would need major investments to bolster back up. So the thesis was, let's keep StarchUp operational and supported for all their customers. We don't do any deal with any company and tell customers, well, by this date, it's going to be over and you got to move over to that. This is never going away. LaundroWorks is never going away. We will never force a customer to make a decision they don't want to make. I've gotten on podcasts and webinars for our mutual customers, and I have told LaundroWorks customers, you never need to use any Sense product. And we will continue supporting and building more integrations with POS companies, right? Our goal is the value of the two companies together would make you want to leverage our platform. If you don't, then don't. You'll never be forced. So with StarchUp, we didn't want to invest all the resources that would be required to just build up that platform when we can take all the best pieces of what they do and build it into our product. Even it's a less investment. It's not hardware. It's easily updated and changed and things like that. But StarchUp is still operational. We still have customers on that product 2 years after building it when everybody thought we would be sunsetting it in 6 months. Now, there are issues with it, and it hasn't been invested in as a platform. And we've been building a lot of that infrastructure in Sense, and there's probably about one feature an important one that of geofencing and things like that we're building that's not there yet in Sense Driver app. And some people just won't choose Sense because of that reason, or will use another company and leave StarchUp going on that has the feature that they need. No problem. We say we do what we say we're going to do, which is support the product, have a support team to support that product, have Nick stay on in the business to run our dispatch and delivery product, and continue to support StarchUp operators until we can have feature parity, where we'll never shut down the product. Only when operators want to switch to us or anybody in the market, they have the complete freedom and ability to do so.
So a couple last things before we wrap up today, Alex. One of them is private equity. You know, in our industry, there's been a lot of tech companies come and go that raised a substantial amount of private equity. And for lack of a better term, most of them, if not all of them, were predatory in some way or another. That's just Dave Men's opinion and my analysis, so you can correct me or somebody else can correct me if they want to. And so I think that private equity in our industry specifically has gotten a bad rap. Now, there's plenty outside of our industry, there's plenty of private equity companies that are predatory in other industries and in the economy in general. So I think part of that comes from outside the industry in. Why have you raised private equity, and what do you see as the benefits to that?
So it's a nomenclature and nuance that probably most people don't care about, but we just have to separate, call it 3 buckets of investor. You have an angel investor, which is your personal money that you invest in. Your risk, you might have a higher risk tolerance depending on your net worth, but it's your money. So you want to see a return, right? You have venture capital, which is, right, they have LPs, which could be individuals, funds of funds, it could be institutions, could be a lot of different forms, family offices, et cetera. But venture capitals raise funds and invest out of those funds. And their profile is usually they make 100 investments and 1 or 2 hit. But the ones that hit pay 10 times all their losses, right? You invest a couple $1 million at Uber when it's an early stage business, they're worth $100 billion or whatever they're worth. That return pays all your losses, makes back your fund, right? So the venture capital is really minority ownership, minority investments in businesses to accelerate growth. And focus on that business continuing to grow and scale to become then a public company or something, or a privately held business forever or whatever it might be. But the idea is they're helping fund growth in a business. Private equity can do the same, but private equities typically, they make less investments. Their return profile is different because they're usually going later stage, right? So they don't make 100 bets and want 1 to hit. They take 100 bets, most of them are going to hit because they're later stage, they're bigger checks, and they're larger ownership at times. Not always, but larger ownership. And anyway, so just like some difference of different investor type. We've raised more venture capital, and by the top venture firms, less private equity, because the idea of our profile of investor, both angel investors who are the C-level executives and at Toast, at Jobber, at Built, at all of these great SMB tech companies to help us see around corners and understand the best way to build our business for scale to support Main Street and Main Street type operators. And we raise venture capital because if I didn't, we'd have to have either some capital. I mean, I invested my own money into this business, but raising venture capital enables us to scale and grow and build faster. And I think that's what this industry in some ways has not had the opportunity to receive, is institutional technology businesses with a venture profile that is fuel for faster growth. What we've built in 3 years is, and I say it just factually based on product line, not because we're better than one or the other, but what we've built in 3 years, no company has built in over 20, right? And we built this product, fully launched it and commercialized it. We launched in the industry 3 years ago, and it is, I would say, either more feature rich, better looking maybe, but at least similar in quality of product than the products that have been around for 20 years. And that's a function of us having tens of millions of dollars that is solely invested in R&D and marketing of our business, so we can tell people what we do to get them to buy our products, which then continues to fund the business. We are profitable. We're going to be here for the long run. But that's the big swing we took, right? I sold a portion of what I owned in this business to an investor for dollars to put back into the business, to invest into growth, to build products that can hopefully make a meaningful impact to the way operators are able to run. It's not for everybody. Some people will operate what you call a lifestyle business is a common term. You generally own the majority of a lifestyle business, and you generally grow at a different profile. We grow over 100%, well over year. We grow very, very quickly. And that's not because I have to or the business lights shut down, but it's because we have the infrastructure and ability to tell people what we do, to build a product that people want and hopefully make it a no-brainer from a cost and value perspective. And I say again, it's like there's nothing different than what we do than what so many other industries have had the ability to receive. Whether you're a landscaper running your own business and use a company like Jobber, whether you're a quick serve restaurant or a high-end restaurant and use a company like Toast, or you open a gym and you want all your bookings on online on MindBody. Every industry has had really great tools that receive venture dollars to build massive amounts of infrastructure. Because look at what's happening. I look at LaundroWorks, right? There are no venture dollars, no anything. It's a family-owned business. But Oleg's getting the calls at 6 p.m. on a Saturday, and he's taking her. But that's not scalable if you've got 5,000 customers. Maybe when you start your laundry business, you can handle a phone call initially with customers, but then you'll take debt, or you'll take some money, or you use the profits of your business to buy another store, and you get bigger and bigger. You can't take the phone calls anymore. So you have to have the infrastructure and resources, but not everybody either knows how or enjoys running those kinds of businesses. So they'll just take the scale of what they're at. They won't invest in greater support. They won't invest in these other in research and development. They won't invest in these areas, which then either stops their growth or lowers the quality of experience from the customer base as it grows. Right. And so that's the thesis. Oh, it's nothing crazy. There's nothing predatory. There's nothing. If anything, I'm trying to prove everybody wrong who said we're not going to be here. We can't do what we're doing. And then we raise capital to do it. And then people think that we're doing it for predatory reasons. It's like, it's hard to win. But
can I ask you two personal questions? You can feel free to say no answer, Dave, no comment. How much total? You've raised a seed round, a Series A, and are closing a Series B as we speak. How much total funds have you raised?
Well, I'll say one answer now, and then we can edit it out if before we announce it, because we haven't fully announced it yet, but we will announce it soon. The closing of our Series B, which was another 40 million. So at this point now, we're about 75 million raised solely to build products for laundromat owners and garment care businesses. Literally all we do. And there's not a slide on any deck I've ever made that has any reference to any other industry or any other elements of this business other than being an all-in-one solution to help the way that garment care and repair is paid for, managed, and operated and connected. It's the ability to really power the small business owner, help them power Laundry Day in America through local, through the SMB. It's all we do. It's all we wanted.
So the reason I asked that question is the next one. Are you cash flow positive now? Do you ever need to raise money again? We never need to raise money. And candidly, we've never needed to raise money.
We've done it because it's been accretive and because the deals with the right partners were there. And we've been able to build meaningful relationships with every investor that we have. And these are the investors also of the biggest tech companies out there, the companies that we really model and look up to in terms of how they've executed and their reputation in their industry. So we've never needed to raise money, not because the lights are going to shut off and I'm frantically going around with my hat out asking investors to put in the money. It was because our business is growing, our customers are happy, our metrics are great, and we have, I think, an enormous. The industry presents for operators and business like ours an enormous opportunity that's continuing to grow. More operators are getting into the industry. More people are sending out their laundry. People are having a better time at laundromats. Even though people hate laundry, they're having a better time. The industry has come alive in such an incredible way that a rising tide lifts all boats in this manner as well. So, we don't raise money because we need to. We raise money if it can be accretive for our business and for our SMBs and for our customers. That's the reason you do it, because it enables us to provide a better quality product, better infrastructure, and better ability to scale. So the customers that were using us early on don't look back and say, man, as you guys grew, you really changed. As you guys grew, just the quality of the product got worse. And that's what you've seen all the time at scale, even laundromat.
Yep.
The bigger you get, the lower the quality of the product, because it's hard to scale things when you are managing so tightly yourself. And so for us, that scale, for us to have the same quality of product, if not actually it gets better the bigger we get. That's why we raised the capital. We never need to again. I don't enjoy doing it necessarily, but you never say never when opportunities are there and right, and it can provide bigger value to our customers.
Yeah. Well, I just thought that was important to point out, because I think legitimately one of the concerns of someone in my situation could be that we're betting on this horse that just has to keep raising money and is bleeding cash and all these things. And man, if the well ever runs dry, they're going to all of a sudden disappear. And I know that to not be true. I think it's important that the industry knows that you're probably healthier today from a technology standpoint, a feature standpoint, and from an equity standpoint, cash flow perspective than ever before. Sense isn't going anywhere, folks. Sense is just getting started. So I'm pretty excited about that.
But it's important to note, the job is never done.
No.
You look at and the same with the laundromat owners. I talk to operators that are scaling their business. They're always looking at new operating models, systems to use, new stores to buy, new markets to try to penetrate to, new strategies. I know operators that have been in the business for 10 years and are just getting into commercial laundry, and or started commercial laundry, stopped it, and now are doing it again, or tried pick up delivery one way, now doing it another way. Now, doing so many new things and how they're approaching the industry. The job is never finished. But our ability to build and serve, and I think more than anything else, have fun doing it. Because I tell folks, if you don't enjoy doing what you're doing, there's no amount of money out there on the planet. And I tell our team the same message, that if you don't have fun, and this is the joy of being in this relationship, being in this industry for me, are the relationships. Most of the people I work with in the industry, I hope are at my wedding, are people that are lifelong friends. And that's the beauty of getting to work with small business owners and products where I can walk into a store in nearby our office in New York and shake hands with the operators and see our products in use and get their feedback and talk to the attendants and talk to customers. It is very few opportunities in a business perspective that I could have that give this level of both feedback, but just personal joy and fulfillment.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else before we wrap up, Carla?
I think we hit most of everything. We didn't hit the Google integration or the self-branded app. So I'll just throw that out there real quick, that you all are the only platform that has the Google integration. So like our customers can actually, when they pull up our Google profile, they can click schedule a pickup right from Google. And you also have created our own self-branded Queen City Laundry apps. So our pickup and delivery customers can download the apps and use that. So those are two things that I know our customers absolutely love. So, and you all are the only platform that has that so far. I'm sure the other ones are trying to catch up right now, though.
Yeah, the Google one, maybe folks will be able to do that. Took us a long time because it's a walled garden when you do anything with Google. But the time we do this next, hopefully it won't take 2 years. It'll be much sooner. Do we do one of these again? There's going to be many, many other things that we'll have done that nobody else has done. And some of them will have a small impact. Some of them will have a major impact. Some people will have tried, some people will not try because they don't want to. And that's more than fine, but it's just about optionality and giving folks the opportunity to have the same access to technology that a lot of other industries have and a lot of other bigger industries and bigger companies have. The Google integration, we've seen to be, a dramatic increase in click-through rate, just to cut down the steps required to place your order, right? To lower the barrier of entry, and then launching the branded apps, both for pickup and delivery, but also building the ability for that customer to download one app for pickup, delivery, and self-serve, because that's what all-in-one means. That I can look at my self-serve spend, and I can get points for my self-serve that can then be used to try pickup and delivery for the first time. And you can start to understand that full customer journey and understand who your customer is, no matter what product of theirs you're buying. Some people just buy our point of sale. That's transact. That's it. Some people just buy pickup and delivery. Some people buy the all-in-one everything. And I need to know who those customers are and what kind of business they have to better support them with the product line that they need, or a quality experience. So if you know who your self-serve is, and then how to get them to convert to wash and fold, and then pick up delivery, who your pick up delivery customer is, all of that is really valuable. And what it all goes back all in one solution. Mm-hmm. Instead of you having a separate company that integrates with Google and a separate company that can help you get those online orders, bring that into one. That's the only way I can get on a podcast, get on a stage, get on a demo, and say Sense is an all in one solution.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Man, I'm so excited for the future. I know you have to run. We appreciate you giving us this valuable time today. But any last words before we let you go today?
I think the only, I'd say the last words, but I'll probably keep talking forever with you on this. But just the gratitude we have to work with you guys, to work with, over 2,500 stores and operators in this industry all over the country. It feels much more of an opportunity that we are given, and the ability for us to kind of earn our place here in this industry over the coming years is not something we take for granted. Just grateful all the time to have the ability to do what we're doing, to learn so much all the time, and to engage with folks like you, and to have the support and belief in what we're doing. Means the absolute world and fuels our energy every single day for every single person in the company. So I guess my last word would just be thank you. And we're constantly filled with gratitude from our conversation. And I equally am excited, not just for Sense and our opportunity, but what the industry is seeing, what you guys are seeing. It really feels like there's a renaissance happening now, and I'm loving to experience this alongside everybody else in the industry, and hopefully have one small, tiny little part of it along the way as well. So thank you guys for having me, and for all the support, positive and negative across the board, that you guys and other operators and people that you're close with. And of course, a shout out to the folks that don't work with us, and the folks that, are curious about what we do and maybe have a certain perspective of why we do it. Hopefully we have the opportunity to connect and at least have a chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, man, before I let you go today, I again want to just say thank you, because I know that you are an absolute rock star. You were doing rock star things before you found the laundromat industry. We as an industry, I'm very passionate about our industry as a whole, all of my friends, the totality of all of us in this industry, and ultimately the clients and customers and communities that we serve. And the truth is that I'm honored. I've told you this before, but I'm honored that you decided to take your talent and your valuable time and your life and use it to help us serve our customers, because we needed an organization and a company with the heart, the thought process, and quite frankly, the support system to be able to build what Sense has built. And obviously, I'm privy to a little bit of inside baseball sometimes, and I happen to know that what's coming in the future is way better than what's in the past. So I'm grateful that you have decided to serve our industry, and anything me and Carla can always do, please just reach out.
Well, and I appreciate that. And I'm more grateful for the people around our table and the people of the Sense team that make this what it is. I'm simply a conduit of everything that they're saying and doing all the time. And I know you've had the opportunity to work with a lot of folks on our team, but it's really the complete team of people that are executing, and Gilly and I in the beginning. And then from there, it becomes a life of its own with every single person on our team and in our community that make it what it is. So I appreciate that for me. And I know on behalf of our team, the message is the same, and the feeling's very mutual with you guys and with all of with everybody in the industry that's spent any time with us. So immensely grateful and looking forward to, doing more of these with you in the future.
Let's do it. All right. For everybody back home, thanks for joining us today. I hope you got a lot of honest, good, solid feedback about where this industry is going in the future, Sense part in that, and our belief of what that's going to look like. We're going to definitely connect with Alex and the Sense team more frequently now. I'm not going to let him tell me no, and even though he's a really busy guy. So we're going to keep doing this. Reach out to us if we can help in any way. Reach out to the Sense team if they can help in any way. We're all in this together, guys. Let's continue to elevate the industry and drive it forward. For Dave and Carla Menz in Cincinnati, Ohio, and our awesome friend Alex Jekowsky at Sense, we will see you next time for another episode of the Laundromat Millionaire Show. Take care, everyone.